Hi guys, continue working on further Dostoevsky, Маленький герой, uplifting you, advancing your Russian big time, and bringing you this sense, this unique sense of aesthetics that you can get reading Russian literature in the original. So please open your Fyodor Dostoevsky Маленький герой, please open your printed version. If you do not have it printed, the link is below this video. You will get it on your screen, but please, if you want to continue with us, you make sure it is printed because it's just going to be much more effective. I'm going to show you first where we stopped the last time. That's going to be your first mission impossible, to find the place. And then I'm going to remind, especially to the new students, what has happened so far. So last time we ended with those two words, кусок жира. Кусок жира, a piece of fat. A piece of fat, кусок жира. You can click Control F and then type in the word кусок, and it will bring you right here. I've tried it because that's the first time in the story that Dostoevsky uses the word кусок. So кусок жира. Now let's remember what has happened so far in the story. We are at this big party in a rich mansion nearby Moscow, with lots of guests coming and going. The narrator of the story is one of the guests of the party, who is an 11-year-old boy. At the party there are present two ladies, one of whom treats this boy, the narrator, in a very bizarre way, trying to embarrass him pretty much all the time, or at least quite often. And another lady, a friend of the first one, is a very kind lady. Very kind, very friendly. But she has some kind of an unexplained sadness in her. And at the last lesson, we learned that, actually, I think it was 2 lessons ago, that the husband of that kind lady also arrived at the party. And Dostoevsky is depicting him as an empty and arrogant person. I want to remind you a little bit of the description of the husband of that lady from the end of our previous lesson, and then we will right away continue. So we learned that at last time. I'm just going to read and translate that, and for you, the older students, is going to be a good chance, a good opportunity to test your comprehension. So he's describing that guy who had just arrived at the party and who is a husband of that lady. Называли его умным человеком. Так в иных кружках называют одну особую породу растолстевшего на чужой счет человечества, которая ровно ничего не делает, которая ровно ничего не хочет делать, и у которой от вечной ленности и ничего не делания вместо сердца кусок жира. So they called him a smart person. So, in certain circles, they call one specific breed of fattened because of the other's work, humanity. The breed that absolutely does nothing and doesn't want to do anything, absolutely, and with whom, like with this breed, from the permanent laziness and doing nothing, instead of heart, there is a piece of fat. To tell you the truth, my translation now was quite rough, not very exact. To make it more precise, you can just look at our previous lesson, but you got the idea. Now today, you can mark it in your printed materials. We are starting with at nigze, from here, and we are going to end with the word гордость, which means pride. So guys, now let's focus. Let's have our first reading. If you don't get much, that's absolutely fine. You will get it after our explanation. But first just listen and enjoy the music of the language. От них же поминутно слышишь, что им нечего делать вследствие каких-то очень запутанных, враждебных обстоятельств, которые утомляют их гений, и что на них поэтому грустно смотреть. Это уж у них такая принятая пышная фраза, их mot d'ordre, их пароль и лозунг. Фраза, которую мои сытые толстяки расточают везде поминутно, что уже давно начинает надоедать, как отъявленное тартюфство и пустое слово. Впрочем, некоторые из этих забавников, никак не могущих найти, что им делать, чего, впрочем, никогда и не искали они, именно на то метят, чтобы все думали, что у них вместо сердца не жир, а напротив, говоря вообще, что-то очень глубокое. Но что именно, об этом не сказал бы ничего самый первейший хирург, конечно, из учтивости. Эти господа тем и пробиваются на свете, что устремляют все свои инстинкты на грубое зубоскальство, самое близорукое осуждение и безмерную гордость. Okay, guys, so we will have to sweat a little bit here, because that's not an easy read. So, but now just bear with me, and you will be rewarded big time. So the first sentence, a very long one, quite long one. От них же поминутно слышишь, что им нечего делать вследствие каких-то очень запутанных враждебных обстоятельств, которые утомляют их гений, и что на них поэтому грустно смотреть. So he is talking about this breed of people who are very, pompous, very kind of pride of themselves, very arrogant, but very, very empty. So, let's go over the vocabulary first. От них же. Please underline this expression with one line. It's an expression. От них же means from the very same people. Because je here acts as very. It strengthens the emotion of the narrator. От них же from the very same people. Поминутно, every minute. Поминутно means every minute. Слышишь. Слышишь, it's like you hear, but there is no you. So слышишь, hear, but it means you hear. But we would say in English, so from the same people, every minute you could hear. So слышишь, in this context, you can underline and write you could hear. Что им нечего делать. Okay, that they have nothing to do, that's simple. Вследствие. Вследствие means as a result of. Please underline вследствие, as a result of. Каких-то очень запутанных, враждебных обстоятельств. So каких-то means some. And it relates here to the word обстоятельств. You can underline it. Обстоятельств comes from обстоятельства, which means circumstances. So каких-то обстоятельств means some circumstances. But now we have few adjectives here. Очень запутанных, very... Запутанный basically means complicated, entangled. Yeah, but so запутанных, please underline, complicated. Враждебных, hostile. So they have nothing to do. Вследствие каких-то очень запутанных, враждебных обстоятельств. As a result of some very complicated, hostile circumstances. Которые утомляют их гений. Утомляют means... Утомлять means to tire, to make something tired. Like to tire something. So here, которые means which. And it relates to обстоятельств, to the circumstances, which are tiring their genius. Yeah, or which make their genius tired. утомляют, you might also translate that as exhaust their genius. И что на них поэтому грустно смотреть. And that at them, на них means at them here, поэтому means therefore, is sad to look. Грустно смотреть. That's clear. Now you will see how you get all this first sentence. От них же поминутно слышишь, что им нечего делать вследствие каких-то очень запутанных, враждебных обстоятельств, которые утомляют их гений, и что на них поэтому грустно смотреть. So, from the very same people, every minute you could hear that they have nothing to do as a result of some very complicated, hostile circumstances, which exhaust their genius, and that at them, therefore, very sad to look. Like you feel sad looking at them, meaning that's what it means. Это уж у них такая принятая пышная фраза. Их mot d'ordre. Их пароль и лозунг. Фраза, которую мои сытые толстяки расточают везде поминутно, что уже давно начинает надоедать, как отъявленное тартюфство и пустое слово. So let's go over the vocabulary of this sentence. Это уж у них такая принятая пышная фраза. So уж here doesn't have lots of meaning. It's just kind of a filler or kind of it strengthens the emotion. You could translate that as actually, but it doesn't have lots of meaning here, so we'll just skip it in our translation. У них in this case, not always, but in this case, у них means in their case. In other contexts, that would mean they have. Такая means such, and that relates to the phrase. So the main word, like in this expression, у них такая принятая пышная фраза, the main word is фраза, phrase, and all the rest is depicting it. So такая means such, принятая means accepted, and пышная means pompous. So he's relating now, Dostoevsky relates here to the phrase утомляют их гений. Either this one, like that it is tiring so those circumstances are tiring their genius, or Dostoevsky might also relate here to this phrase грустно смотреть, like that it's sad to look at them. I don't know which one Dostoevsky means here, but he says, это уж у них такая принятая пышная фраза. So that's actually, in their case, is such an accepted pompous phrase. Ich mot d'ordre. Mot d'ordre, that's a French expression for motto. M-O-T-T-O. Ich parole и лозунг. Parole means password. Parole. Lozung means banner. So, ich parole и лозунг would mean their password and banner. Фраза, которую мои сытые толстяки расточают везде поминутно. So, фраза means phrase, которую which, мои сытые толстяки. So, толстяк means a fat person, comes from толстый, which is, we had this, you remember? Толстый и тонкий, right? Толстый means fat, толстяк, a fat person, a noun. Сытые means full, in terms of food. So, мои сытые толстяки would mean my full fatties. Yeah, fat people. Расточают comes from расточать. It means to spread around. Везде means everywhere. And поминутно means every minute. So, therefore, фраза, которую мои сытые толстяки расточают везде поминутно, that would be a phrase which my full fatties spread everywhere, every minute. Что уже давно начинает надоедать, как отъявленное тартюфство и пустое слово. So again, he's talking about that phrase, уже давно means for a long time. Like уже means already. So if we translate that literally, it means already for a long time. But in English we will just say for a long time. Начинает means starting. And then that means get bored, get boring. Or like to bore you, to create a feeling in you that you are fed up with that. But I will just translate that as get boring. Как отъявленное тартюфство. So отъявленное means downright. In terms of like he's a downright villain. Like you don't have a doubt in that. That's отъявленное. Like something that can be seen clearly. So you can отъявленное, like downright or clearly seen, you could say. And тартюфство means pretense. Тартюфство. It comes from Tartuffe of Molière. So basically it means pretense. И пустое слово, empty word. So now see how it all works together here. Это уж у них такая принятая пышная фраза. Их mot d'ordre. Их пароль и лозунг. Фраза, которую мои сытые толстяки расточают везде поминутно, что уже давно начинает надоедать, как отъявленное тартюфство и пустое слово. So that, in their case, is such an accepted, pompous phrase. Their motto, their password and banner. A phrase which my full fat is, spread everywhere, every minute, which it has been a long time, which is starting to get boring as a clearly seen pretense and an empty word. Hope you got it. If you didn't get fully, then just play it again. Just listen to my explanation. If I didn't explain a word or a phrase, something that was unclear, please look up in the dictionary so that you don't continue before you get it. And if it is difficult to get still, you can write it down and then we will just go over it again the next time. And then he continues. Впрочем, некоторые из этих забавников, никак не могущих найти, что им делать, чего, впрочем, никогда и не искали они, именно на то метят, чтобы все думали, что у них вместо сердца не жир, а напротив, говоря вообще что-то очень глубокое. А что именно, об этом не сказал бы ничего самый первейший хирург. Конечно, из учтивости. Okay, so another long sentence. We will divide it and go over the vocabulary. Впрочем, некоторые из этих забавников, никак не могущих найти, что им делать, чего, впрочем, никогда и не искали они. So let's get up to here. So, впрочем means by the way. Некоторые из, please underline it, некоторые из не is some of. And забавников means funny guys. That's забавники. Funny guys, or it might also mean ridiculous guys. Therefore, впрочем, некоторые из этих забавников. By the way, some of those ridiculous guys, никак не могущих найти, что им делать. So, никак не могущих, who can never. Никак не могущих, because могущих comes from я могу, I can. Я не могу, I cannot, for example. So, никак не могущих, which, and никак не, in this case means never. Like, никак не. So, никак не могущих найти, who can never find, что им делать, what they have to do, that's что им делать. Чего, впрочем, никогда и не искали они. Чего means and that. Впрочем, again, by the way. Никогда и не искали они, никогда never. И is just a connector here, not much meaning. не искали они, they weren't looking for, because искать means look for. Now look how it all works together here, because the order of the word is different than in English. Впрочем, некоторые из этих забавников, никогда не могущих найти, что им делать, чего, впрочем, никогда и не искали они, and then the sentence continues. By the way, some of those funny guys who can never find what for them to do, and that, by the way, so чего I will translate here as which, by the way, they have never been searching for. And then it continues the sentence, and it continues the idea. So some of those funny guys, именно на то метят. So метят means aimed at. Sorry, it means aim at. That's метить. Comes from метить, to aim at something. Именно means precisely. And please underline with one color на то, чтоб, because it comes together as one expression here, even though it is separated by other words, by another word. So на то, чтоб means at the fact that. At the fact that. So именно на то метят, чтоб means aim, like those guys, those funny guys, aim precisely at the fact that, на то, чтоб, at the fact that, все думали, at the fact that, все means everyone, думали means thought, but in English that would be would think. So they are aiming exactly at the fact that everyone thinks, everyone would think, что у них вместо сердца не жир, that they have, instead of their heart, not fat, а напротив, говоря вообще, что-то очень глубокое. Напротив means the opposite. The opposite. Говоря вообще, so speaking, вообще means in general. Speaking in general. Что-то очень глубокое. Something very deep. Глубокое means deep. Очень very. So something very deep. You will get now how it all works together. Don't worry. Но что именно, but what exactly, so what exactly they have instead of their heart, об этом не сказал бы ничего самый первейший хирург. So первейший means самый первейший, you can underline it as one expression. It means the very first, like means the best of the best. And chirurg means a surgeon. So what exactly they have instead of their heart? So they want to pretend that they have something very deep instead of their heart. Но что именно, but what exactly? Об этом не сказал бы ничего самый первейший хирург. So about that wouldn't say anything the very first surgeon. So even the very best surgeon wouldn't say what those guys have instead of their heart. Конечно, из учтивости. So why wouldn't he say that? Конечно, of course, из учтивости, out of respect. Because из учтивости, so in is means out of. Учтивость, just wait a second, I will just look up the exact translation. Yeah, so the better word would be courtesy, or politeness. So из учтивости means out of politeness. So meaning that even the surgeon wouldn't say out of politeness what those guys have instead of their heart. Now look how it all works together. We're not leaving this sentence before you get clearer comprehension. I'm going to read it, just bear with me and focus, but relax at the same time. Впрочем, некоторые из этих забавников, никак не могущих найти, что им делать, чего, впрочем, никогда и не искали они, именно на то метят, чтобы все думали, что у них вместо сердца не жир, а напротив, говоря вообще что-то очень глубокое. Но что именно, об этом не сказал бы ничего самый первейший хирург. Конечно, из учтивости. By the way, some of those funny guys who can never find what they have to do, which, by the way, they never searched, aim, so those guys, meaning aim exactly at the fact that everyone would think that they have, instead of a heart, not fat, but the opposite. Generally speaking, something very deep. But what exactly about that wouldn't say anything even the very first surgeon. Of course, out of politeness. You see? So now it makes much more sense, correct? But again, guys, if you still have anything that wasn't clear, please let me know in the comments. And the last sentence for today. Эти господа тем и пробиваются на свете, что устремляют все свои инстинкты на грубое зубоскальство, самое близорукое осуждение и безмерную гордость. So let's go over the vocabulary here. So господа in this case means people. Господа, because господин, that's a respectful way of addressing a man. So эти господа, those people. Now please underline one expression, тем что. Тем что, and it means by the thing that. So тем что, by the thing that. Пробиваются на свете, make their living. Пробиваются на свете, because свет means world. Пробиваться, in this case, it means like survive or make a living. So that is the idea. So эти господа тем и пробиваются на свете что would mean those guys, those people are surviving in the world by the fact that, or by the thing that. So тем что means by the fact that, and и here doesn't have lots of meaning. Устремляют, устремлять means to direct. Все свои инстинкты, all their instincts, so they direct all their instincts. На means towards, here in this case. Грубая means very like coarse, rough, raw. Yeah, that's грубая. So you can write raw, rough. Зубоскальство, please underline this long word, and it means sarcasm. Зубоскальство. So грубое зубоскальство would mean very like coarse, very raw sarcasm. Самое близорукое осуждение. Самое means the most. Близорукое, nearsighted. That's близорукое. So a myopical, nearsighted. Осуждение, judgment. So самое близорукое осуждение would be the very nearsighted judgment. И безмерную гордость. So безмерный means unmeasurable. And гордость means pride, and unmeasurable pride. So now, let's see how it all works together. Эти господа тем и пробиваются на свете, что устремляют все свои инстинкты на грубое зубоскальство, самое близорукое осуждение и безмерную гордость. Those people are surviving in the world by the fact that they direct all their instincts towards a coarse, towards raw sarcasm. The most nearsighted judgment and immeasurable pride. So самое близорукое осуждение would mean the most. I might have mistaken it with some other word in my translation previously. I don't remember. But самое близорукое осуждение would mean the most nearsighted judgment. И безмерную гордость. And an immeasurable pride. So now look how this last sentence work here all together. Again. Эти господа тем и пробиваются на свете, что устремляют все свои инстинкты на грубое зубоскальство, самое близорукое осуждение и безмерную гордость. So those people are surviving in the world by the fact that they direct all their instincts at, like towards or at raw sarcasm, the most near-sighted judgment, and immeasurable pride. Okay, guys, so now we are going to create our little miracle towards the end of the lesson. We are going to read all this part without my translation. And this is not an easy read at all, even for a native Russian speaker. So don't worry if you don't get it 100%, but you won't even be able to compare how you are getting it now compared to how you would get it if you read it just by yourself or if you just listened to it for the first time. So listen. От них же поминутно слышишь, что им нечего делать вследствие каких-то очень запутанных враждебных обстоятельств, которые утомляют их гений, и что на них поэтому грустно смотреть. Это уж у них такая принятая пышная фраза, их mot d'ordre, их пароль и лозунг, фраза, которую мои сытые толстяки расточают везде поминутно, что уже давно начинает надоедать, как отъявленное тартюфство и пустое слово. Впрочем, некоторые из этих забавников, никак не могущих найти, что им делать, чего, впрочем, никогда и не искали они, именно на то метят, чтобы все думали, что у них вместо сердца не жир, а напротив, говоря вообще что-то очень глубокое, но что именно, об этом не сказал бы ничего самый первейший хирург, конечно, из учтивости. Эти господа тем и пробиваются на свете, что устремляют все свои инстинкты на грубое зубоскальство, самое близорукое осуждение и безмерную гордость. Okay, guys. So thank you very much. You were great. And I really admire you that you have stayed till the end because it's not an easy read. And if you need my help with your Russian goals, regardless what your goals are, basically my intention when we go for our lessons is to make you able to function in the Russian-speaking environment and to really hold an intelligent conversation in Russian. So I will be more than happy to explain to you how it works. You are welcome to contact me using the email below. But for now, I wish you good mood, good health, and take care. Ciao, ciao.